Auburn head basketball coach Bruce Pearl returns to Marching to Madness after leading the Tigers to the precipice of the national championship as Auburn played in the Final Four after 32 wins, an outright SEC regular season title in a league that saw 14 teams make it to the NCAA tournament. Coach, welcome back.
Great to be with you, Ken. I apologize for not looking at my camera, but I'm zooming and driving, but I'm going to be very, very careful.
Yeah, please be careful, Coach. There's a lot better things to look at than me. And if you don't believe me, ask my ex-wife. She'll tell you. Hey, it's great that you're back on, obviously, a monumental season that saw many new endeavors for the Tigers program.
You know, Ken, it was a very, very special group, and a special group of coaches, a special group of players. We were an old school team built the way, we used to build teams. Guys that were in a program for a long time. Dylan Carwell, 5 years. Chris Moore, 5 years. Janai Broom, one of the most impactful transfers in portal history, coming here for 3 years and winning an SEC tournament championship, a regular season championship, and a Final Four appearance, and runner-up for National Player of the Year. Guys that like Chaney Johnson coming out of Division II and making such an amazing transition. Denver Jones going from mid-major to one of the best point guards in our league.
Yes.
Miles Kelly, a guy that had a great career at Georgia Tech, just hadn't quite been on a team that was good enough to advance in the tournament. Comes to Auburn, wins championships, an amazing 3-and-D guy, great kid. Tad Pettiford showed, what an amazing freshman he was. So underrated out of high school because of his size. Comes in ranked 25 to 30. Leaves his freshman year clearly one of the top 10 freshmen in college basketball. So quite a group.
This team never seemed like it looked ahead or even looked back at what may have happened in the next game. It was totally in the moment, felt like.
Who's that now?
The Tigers.
We were good early. We were good throughout, and we stayed good at the end, which is really, really hard to do. I think we set the tone a little bit for our league, and I'm so proud of our league, Ken. So proud of the other 16 programs, their coaching staffs, their universities for committing and supporting our student athletes, and making history this year, because this SEC was the best maybe ever.
Yeah.
To have a national championship team in Florida, to have 2 Final Four teams, to have 4 teams in the Elite Eight, 7 teams in the Sweet 16. I mean, it was incredible. And we won't, I don't think we'll ever see anything like it, not in my lifetime. And to finish on top of the regular season and to be the number 1 overall seed of the tournament. In other words, to me, while Florida was absolutely a great national champion, I'm so proud of Todd and Florida, the amazing job that team and staff did. They were the best team in the country. We won the regular season championship, and I'm very proud of that.
As we look at Auburn basketball right now, the numbers I have, you have 10 players who were leaving the program, but 5 graduated and used up their eligibility. 7 interesting players coming in, 4 transfers and 3 freshmen.
Well, we lose everybody. I mean, we lose. Chad Prewitt is really the only returning player. I'm going to put Blake on scholarship, who was a walk-on for us. And really, it's a whole new ball game. I like what this coaching staff has done, going out there and doing, I think, a really good job getting some really good kids that are working hard. I think we had a chance to be competitive again. I don't know that nobody in the country lost more than we did. And I think we did a really good job of putting some pieces together. Those 3 solid freshmen and the rest of the guys are all transfers. I think the common denominator is kids that are good kids that want to work hard, that want to sort of believe in our culture and our chemistry, about faith and family and calling God and doing the things that this team did all year long. I'm hoping that this group embraces that while we try to become a great team.
Interesting staff note here. Chad Prewitt, an excellent assistant coach at Auburn, has a very excellent 3 decades inside the game of basketball. He steps away from the hoops and turns to the ministry.
It's awesome. It is awesome. Chad and his wife Tanya 3 years ago started a ministry. It was called Unite, and they both have a heart for the incredible potential and the challenges that are facing young college students as they're trying to navigate their way through the beginnings of adult life and where their faith is. And through Unite and that ministry, they've really been able to connect with these young college students, provide them with an amazing evening of worship and teaching, and also connecting them with local churches and getting them to be able to understand that and celebrate the opportunity to get closer to the Lord. And I'm just so proud of Chad and happy for them as they take this. What I said to Chad was, we've been calling God all season long, and God called you, and so it's time to go serve.
Sure. The respect and acumen you have for helping your players off the court as well as on the court has become a major part of the Auburn culture. Talk about having a faith-based basketball team that meets in prayer on the floor after the game, and the calling God thing, it took wheels of its own.
First of all, I give Auburn University credit and thanks because what a lot of people don't understand about separation of church and state, it was actually to separate the state from the church, not the other way around. And there are some people in this country that think that if you're a state anything, you're not allowed to have God anywhere involved in it. And that's just not the way the law was written or meant to be. That's not what our founders had in mind. And so, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't wave a magic wand. Mm-hmm. Our secret sauce is simply, what would God have me do every single day, and then go about trying to do it, especially with young people as they're searching for answers and they're working so hard to try to obviously achieve their goals. And it plays really well into trying to build a team, like the sacrifices that you have to make to be a great teammate or to be a great player or to be a great student athlete. Well, sacrifice is a part of faith. And, not being jealous of another man's success, offering each other grace like the Lord offers us. All these things are foundational and hopefully, certainly taught, but more importantly, hopefully lived. And so, anyways, it's been great, and it's a big part of our teaching.
I enjoy following your comments and perspectives on Twitter, as I have learned so much about the terror in Israel via what's quoted as the Muslim Brotherhood in the Middle East. Advocating for the release of Eden Alexander during the NCAA tournament was a monumental positive, I think, for the Israeli American who was held hostage, obviously for no reason I could ever understand.
Well, Ken, on October 7th, a couple years ago, 45 Americans were killed, murdered, raped, tortured by Hamas. As an American, I'm not okay with that.
No.
That is clearly my enemy. And obviously, 1,200 people, most of them Israeli, most of them Jewish. I'm not okay with that either.
No.
And the Middle East is very, very, very misunderstood. I'm a basketball coach. My job is to bring people together of all faiths, of all shapes, sizes, and colors. That's my job. That's what I've done my whole life. Mm-hmm. And there is a tremendous number of absolutely wonderful Arabs living in Israel living, 2 million of them living as citizens, most of them Muslim, most of them proud to be Israeli citizens, living their best lives. Over 50% of the healthcare workers in the state of Israel are not Jewish. There are Supreme Court justices, there are members of the Knesset, there are leaders in industry, and nobody knows that, okay?
Yeah.
But there was a certain group of Arabs, whether you label them all the Palestinians, or Islamic Jihad, or Hezbollah, or Hamas, or a certain segment of the Palestinian Authority, that simply refused to live next door to a Jewish state or next door to Israel. They wanted it all, from the river to the sea, and that means free of all the Jews. I'm not okay with that. When anybody chants from the river to the sea, that's what they're chanting. Or free Palestine. Free Palestine, what? First of all, there is no Palestine. Second of all, free Palestine of what? And that's the Jews. Not okay with that either. And so it is beyond something in this country that is completely misunderstood. Our educational leaders should be accountable. That's the best word I can possibly use right now. Accountable for not teaching the truth and not being willing to teach the truth. So therefore, our kids got to learn about it on TikTok. Or if these folks tell a lie often enough, which they've done for 80 years, and we're not actually teaching Middle Eastern studies properly, then you're going to have a rise in anti-Semitism. If we didn't teach these things about our African-American brothers and sisters, or women, or some other class that has been targeted, and teach the truth about them, there'd be more racism. There would be fewer women's rights. And so, but for some reason, the truth has not been told. And that's all I try to do. And so calling out Hamas and asking them to release the hostages, there are still 56 hostages still held today. Is the Israeli Armed Forces, the IDF, discovered two bodies of Americans, older people in their 70s, that were just out for a walk one day on October 7th, that were murdered and their bodies were taken to Gaza. Who does that? And how? And what justifies that? The answer is nothing. No justification.
No, 150% agree, obviously, Coach. Hey, I see an excellent player coming into Auburn next year. UCF Knights transfer Keyshawn Hall. Now, interesting story. My airplane rerouted through Cleveland, Ohio, getting to San Antonio. So Keyshawn was on the flight, and I just struck up a conversation with him, learned who he was. I saw him on TV go for 41 points at Arizona State. Then I was in Orlando when he had 26, and he kind of torched the Kansas State Wildcats.
Yeah, he's a bucket getter, and he wants to be a pro. He wants to be a pro. So he came to Auburn. He's working on his body, working on his speed, his quickness. Really, really good kid. Hopefully he can have a great experience, and he'll be one of our leaders, clearly one of our better players. I'll take a quick tour through the roster. Ken, I think Caden Magwood and Todd Pettifer will compete for the starting point guard position. Obviously, Todd could have stayed in the draft and might have gone late first round, but he'll improve his position for next year and obviously get a little bigger, stronger, and grow. He'll be able to lead this year, now be one of our best players returning. And last year, obviously, with all those veterans, he didn't have to lead. And so as a point guard, that'll be a great experience for him. Caden Magwood's got a lot of Todd Pettifer in him. Sure. And that's going to be exciting to watch his growth and development. Should be able to contribute as a freshman. Kevin Overton probably has an advantage at the 2 spot because he's older, more physically mature, a great 3-and-D guy that wants to do more. And I love the 2 young guards we got behind him or will be competing with him. Right now, they'd be behind us because they're a little younger. Abdul Bashir, who is 6'7", long, really good shooter, got some real skill to him. We get, again, working on his body and getting him to a place where physically he's where he wants to be. And then Simon Walker is just he was a player of the year in the state of Alabama, a really solid physical guard that can shoot it and defend. At the 3 spot, I think, Elijah Freeman has got a real chance as a young Division II player coming in. Great size, great body. He's got an NBA body. And we'll really look to develop him along those lines. One of those other guards can move down and compete in that 3 spot. Keyshawn Hall can move up a little bit, compete in that 3 spot. And then the Sebastian Williams is a really, I think, an underrated freshman. Got a great body, got a great work ethic, great kid. I thought he was underrated in high school. And I think he's physical enough, mature enough to be able to help us this year. And got a great future with Auburn. And then I think Keyshawn Murphy, who comes in from Mississippi State. He was an Alabama kid that we've known about for the last 5, 6, 7 years. And just Mississippi State did a great job recruiting him, coaching him. He improved every year. And I think the combination of him being an Alabama kid and also our success over the last couple of years kind of tempted him to see if maybe there was some interest. And obviously there was. I think he's going to be a stretch 5. We'll have him shoot the ball a little bit more than what he maybe did before. And because they do such a great job coaching at Mississippi State, he knows how to defend. He knows how to play. He's been coached really well. So I think he got a chance. And then the last piece was 2 pieces was Philip Jurek. Stephen Pearl did a great job going overseas and getting that young man. He's a very, very productive inside player. Got a chance to fill some of the things that Janai Broom did. He's not as big as Janai, but he can score over either shoulder. He's tough, physical, really good athlete. I'm not going to put Cooper Flag on him. That's not nearly fair to either one of them. But he's got the ability to do a lot of things like Cooper. He's very, very active. And then we got a 7-footer, a prospect that had only been playing basketball for 2 years and 4 years, excuse me, in Mecca. And got him from junior college, and he's got 3-4 years of eligibility left, and he's got a chance to be good. Great kid, really hard worker. So that's a look at our roster. And my guess, Ken, will be pricked somewhere in the middle of our league, probably in the upper half of our league. And if you're in the upper half, if you can be in the upper half of the SEC, you can be in the upper half of the NCAA. That's for sure.
Todd Golden led Florida to the national title. Of course, it was his 3rd season in Gainesville. Obviously, he was your assistant at Auburn for 2 years. He played for your squad in winning the gold medal in the 2009 Maccabi games in Israel.
Yeah, Todd was amazing. And when I got the job at Auburn, having coached him in the Maccabi games and having begun actually advising him when he first decided to get into coaching, I knew that he would be a great hire. And having him for a couple of years and then being around him, recognize how smart, his understanding of the game is concerned, what kind of person he is, what kind of worker he is, character, his family. And then when he went off to be the associate head coach at San Francisco, the head coach, and he always played for Randy Bennett, worked for great coaches. I knew he was going to be great. Glad I recommended him to Florida. He's done an obviously an amazing job. But listen, Ken, I appreciate the work that you do, my brother. We've got our 20 minutes in. I got to get on to the next one. And nobody does a better job than you do, Ken. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you as well.